And we're back with another episode of On the Record with Tiffany and Kevin.
Woohoo!
Here on 9:30 a.m. The Answer. And I'm with my new favorite person, Sherri Braxton of Sherri Fitness.
Oh,
this lady is changing my life.
Yes.
For the better.
Yes.
She's my trainer. Mm-hmm. But there's a lot that goes into being a trainer. She's my trainer. She has to be able to get into your head. You have to be able to trust her enough for that. And for me, I have real trust issues, as my husband can attest to.
Don't get him started.
Don't get me started. I had a rough morning.
He's thinking right now. He's going like, what am I going to say?
He's already in this. Two women.
He's in rare form now, so don't leave him alone.
All right, so let's talk about it, right?
But I do, and so opening up to Sherri, like Sherri can tell you that it took me months to even say. I knew that I needed to do something, but it took me months to commit.
So let's ask some questions, right? Because I think people a lot of times people believe in the more important other is what I like to call it, and let me explain what I mean by that. People always think it's easier for you, right? It's easier for you. Right, that somehow you have something special, something going on in your life that makes these things easier for you.
Like Sherri's super.
Tiffany
she's made for this. Her family doesn't have any.
Well, let's talk about you too as well.
That's what you think.
Yeah.
When you see somebody who's fit.
But let's talk about you as well, right? I'm going to ask both of you questions, right? Because they're beating me on the numbers and it's making me mad. On the weight loss numbers.
You need to follow your stuff.
Yeah.
You need to follow your stuff.
So a lot of people will say, well, Tiffany, you have a husband who's supportive. You have blah. There's always a reason why you can do it and I can't, right? There's a reason why you can do it and I can't. So Sherri, we're going to tell you some personal struggles in our own life, right? And Tiffany's lost twice the weight that I've lost, which is really annoying me. So, but talk about it, Sherri. How do you overcome that idea where people believe it has to be perfect before I can get started? Because it's never perfect.
And first, let Sherri tell about her own experience with health and why she's the way she is, because that's really what made me connect to Sherri. That's what it was.
Well, it's what we talk about, that mindset too. Mm-hmm. Mental health, though. That's why I started training. I started training because I told you I was in a difficult relationship. So I was struggling with panic attacks, anxiety. Of course, I went to counseling, but then the main thing that they said was to work out, and that's what I did. But on the other side of it, a lot of people do think that they can't work out. They can't do this. They can't. Your prime example, I have to bring that up right now because you reached out to me almost a year ago.
Uh-huh.
And she was ready. She thought she was ready, but I wasn't. She left me a message and said, I want to, can you get your schedule together? Because I want to do this. Mm-hmm. And I said, well, you let me know. And then I worked out a day for her to come to the consultation. Mm-hmm.
And that's how she does things.
And then, you
gotta choose to commit.
Exactly.
She's not gonna chase you down.
I'm not gonna chase anybody. When you're ready, then you come to me. And
totally different from other trainers.
You canceled that day, then you rescheduled again a second time, and she canceled. And then I ran into you.
I literally was not ready.
Yeah. And then now, when we had that conversation, a few months ago, when you said you were ready,
I was ready
on the phone,
that point.
I can tell you were ready because your health, you went to the doctor, right? Mm-hmm. And the doctor was telling you needed to work out, you needed to get healthy.
And they were prescribing me, Sherri's not going to say this, so I'm going to say it because I know you would never.
I would.
And this is part of, it's a trust thing. Mm-hmm. I was on one blood pressure medication when I had my weight was down lower. I've always had to take some form of blood pressure.
It's a hereditary thing with you and your family, right?
Yes, we have something that whether you're big or thin, you still are on blood pressure medicine. But all of a sudden, I was on 3. Mm-hmm. And one of them was a pretty potent medication, and I have a a patch that's on my arm that is slow release, and I have to have this. If you go off of it, you could have a stroke or a heart attack. You literally, the doctor has to wean you off of it. It's not, so these things were all pretty potent. And I was like, I'm 51. So am I going to ride out the next 30 years like this?
You don't have 30 is what I told you.
And yes, thank you for that. Thank you for that little piece of reality. Always keeping me on track.
Yeah.
But that was what prompted me to say, I gotta make a change. I can't keep down
and
this
also
road.
the fact that you are, leading
A health.
the Texas Care Foundation, and you
I'm
have
leading
people,
a healthcare initiative.
People are
and-
watching you.
Yeah.
So with you doing this,
And I'm falling apart.
Everybody's like seeing. She's doing this, so you know what? We're gonna follow her. If she can do it, then we can do it.
Yeah, and you never have the perfect situation where you want to work out, right?
No.
Yeah.
So you never have the perfect situation where I don't want to eat those chips. Those chips look good. That guacamole tastes good.
And to put a preface
Yeah.
on it, I was also thinking about the mental health side, because I've had somewhere in the neighborhood of, at that time when I called you, it was between 45 and 50 family members and friends died during this pandemic. Well, after my mother died, which was June 25th, 2021, I picked up weight. I was picking up some weight before that.
Picked up a lot of weight.
I was
You were
picking up
just
some
out
weight
of
before that,
control,
but I
to be honest with you.
I just
Was it-
pounded on the
It was
pounds.
just like stress eating.
after
Yeah,
that.
it was stress eating. It was late night eating. It
Yeah,
was,
we
your
right
job was
then,
stressful.
She died, and then right then, remember Tammy died, and
We had a lot of
we
people.
had a lot of people.
There were
die
black people dying everywhere at the house,
immediately.
everywhere.
So many people had died that my dad said, "I feel like everybody's dying around me."
And so and I deal with things like in a very comedic way. And I was telling Tiffany, hey, you can't die. She's like, I said, it's cold in these streets. I got 2 girls. I got to start over. I said, I hadn't dated in like over 20 years. We got to do something about this.
In over
Now,
20 years, well, okay, you need to get your math right.
Yeah,
You've
I
been
know,
married
you and I've
for
been
25
married.
years.
We've been married
anyway,
forever.
Be quiet.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
shut
That's
it.
a whole different
but that's the situation you're in. But if I'm in that, if I'm in that situation, but my environment's not perfect, you've got these meetings, you've got to go here, you got to go there, and people feel like they have to have their environment perfect. I got to have this ready. I got all the stressors in my life.
That's when you got to make a change. That's
when you have to make the change,
That's
right?
when it's up to you, because I hear that all the time. I have kids. I got to do this, and I got to do that. Okay, do you go to get your nails done? Do you schedule time to get your nails done? Do you schedule time to go get a massage? Or to go buy a pair of shoes, or to do whatever.
Because we all schedule time to shop.
To do something.
Everybody schedules time to do something that they like.
So that's that time, that hour or whatever that you have to schedule for your health, and that's what a lot of people aren't doing. They're not thinking about their health.
You can't get into that stuff if you don't
and like
have your
Kevin
health.
said, you want it to be perfect.
never gonna be
Nothing
perfect.
is perfect. You have to. It's like you have to sacrifice. So this is what you got to do.
Yeah.
And I give you a perfect example, let's just say on food, right? And so what I've done is I haven't done the actual physical workout that I want to do. So my first place, because Tiffany started, and I was like, crap, she's already started. I'm never going to have situation perfect. So I started with my eating first, right? And then I do this balance thing, because where I set on this balance machine, not machine, but it's a little device. So that's where I started. It was just there with the food. And so, and I got rid of my Fruit Loops, which was, and I actually threw some Fruit Loops away.
We talked about these Fruit
And
Loops.
so, because the perfect situation was never going to happen, right? So it's never about when am I going to have the perfect timing. You're just not. Like this morning, we woke up, everyone's not following the routine, and I'm like crazy
Y'all,
mad
Kevin
this
was so
morning.
mad at all of us this morning. He came in just
'Cause we had to run 2 episodes.
Steam coming off
We had
coming out of his
to
ears.
do we had to rerun 2 shows last week, right? And so I'd already set up a situation at the house, but other people weren't following that schedule. But anyway, neither here nor there. But all that to say is that the perfect situation wasn't going to happen. The girls didn't listen. My wife didn't listen. We were late. And I'm like, And I felt like, I'm going to grab a handful of chips. I'm like, dude, get this water bottle and get out the door and you'll be okay, right? Because the perfect situation just was never going to happen. And it never happens. You're never going to have that moment of clarity, especially if you are an adult with any type of other little bitty people responsible for you, that you're responsible for. You're never going to have the perfect time. Our schedules are busy and hectic, and it's just a lot. And oftentimes, right, we have to create it's just never going to be a perfect time to say that.
You know, the thing with running a healthcare initiative, what I felt, just piggybacking off of what you're saying about there's never going to be a perfect time. What I felt was everyone is dealing with the pain of losing people. Everybody is right now. Mine happens to be amplified, and I always think that whenever I'm going through something like that God puts me through it because I'm the person that he wants to talk about it and who will talk about it and do whatever it is that I'm supposed to do in that scenario. So this was something where I knew I needed to open my life up in a very transparent way so that people could see that it's not always perfect for me, and that if I can do this, you definitely can do it.
You're human, everybody, yes.
Yeah.
And I go through the same junk that everybody else goes
And
through.
the same struggles, because with, going down a healthy, path, you have to keep your mind right and know. So let's talk like meal prep.
Meal prep.
I have to. I was getting ready to go into something else, but I got to.
Let's go there, girl.
I'm gonna say meal prep. You know why? Because it's just what you were saying, Kevin. Is you have to have your stuff together.
We're on 9:30 a.m. The Answer, and you're listening to On the Record with Tiffany, and we're going to come back and talk about meal prep.
Meal prep.
All right.
We're going to come back and talk with Sherri Braxton of Sherri
Meal
Fitness,
prep.
personal trainer to the healthcare initiative people like me. Okay. Come back and listen to what Sherri has to say about meal prep and being prepared to take back your health.
That's right.